Hi, everybody. This is Trey Parker.
Hi, everybody. It's Matt Stone.
And we're back to do more mini commentaries. In case you haven't heard us doing commentaries before, we definitely don't do them the entire episode long because we just don't have that much to say about each episode. So we kind of
we only commit to a few minutes on each episode.
Yeah, because we really wouldn't be very interested. We're not interesting anyway. So, but this season started with. I remember this season. We kind of went into the season with absolutely no ideas for anything for some reason, because we had a writer's retreat. We came up with sort of that Garrison should get his sex change and kind of the Hippy idea, and that was about all.
Yeah, the Hippy idea. That was about it.
And then the rest of the shows we just sort of we had to wing them every week. But they kind of got better though, the less we thought about them. But
there's that shot.
Yeah, there's some real live. That's actual sex change operation footage. This footage was actually about 4 minutes long in the original cut. We had this we showed the entire sex change operation. We showed it to Comedy Central, and they were so bummed out. And we actually even made Doug Herzog. We made the president. We were like, no, but you can't just cut it out. It's too good. And watching it now, I'm like, why did we think that was sweet?
It's fucking gross.
Yeah, I don't know why we put it.
And it's like, it is in there for just like 3 little 1-second things, but it was about a minute. And it was just like Mr. Garrison over the whole thing going, ugh, and like narrating the whole thing.
Because we had no idea for an episode, so we thought we'd just put that in.
That'll be disgusting.
Yeah. But this was the episode this was the one where I almost pulled a Dave Chappelle, because it was the weekend before the season was going to start, and I was like, okay, we've got no ideas for shows. I don't even know what this idea for a show is. We're done. I'm getting out of here. I can't deal with the stress anymore, and I was just going to leave. And then I thought, well...
And then we came up with the dolphin.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, well...
And it wasn't that the dolphin was sweet. It was that he was a lawyer, half lawyer. He was a dolphin lawyer, so he was a lawfin. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool. I'll stay this week then.
That's so dumb.
So horrible.
It's so dumb.
But
I don't know if we've... It seems like we've come up before in South Park, but that Trinidad, Colorado is one of the world's like foremost places for sex change operations.
Yeah, there was a doctor there. At least when we were growing up, it was like one of the only places that did it.
It was that
part of the world.
Trinidad, Colorado, and Bangkok.
Yeah.
So it actually does make sense that Mr. Garrison goes to Trinidad.
Yeah.
For a sex change. And
everyone's lip sync is off. Is that just us?
It's just.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's just an R high.
That's good.
High quality.
So hopefully what you're watching,
suite.
the lip sync isn't all off. But anyway, this was just basically the idea of because I remembered when I was a kid, I really wanted to play for the Denver Broncos. That's all I cared about and I didn't like football. I just wanted to play on the Denver Broncos. But because that's my entire family and everyone, their lives revolved around the Broncos. So, but I felt like I wasn't the right body for it, mostly because I wasn't black. But then I felt like I was sort of a Denver Bronco trapped in my body. And so that's sort of where the idea came from. So that's enough about this episode. We'll go on to the next one.
So this episode was basically a combination of Burning Man, that a kind of a Burning Man or like a Bonnaroo festival comes to South Park combined with The Core, right? That movie, was that movie? It's this really terrible movie came out called The Core. And this really started with us trying to make fun, like making fun of that idea of, it was just before the G8 thing. Remember the concerts that they did for world poverty and stuff? But really love that idea of people sitting around and having a concert to solve some problem, and then all sitting there going, let him hear you over there in Washington, and like
thinking they're actually accomplishing anything by sitting around jamming,
smoking pot and jamming, that you're really changing the world, and they're hearing you over there in Washington D.C.
Good for you, douchebag. Like, meanwhile, there's real people actually meeting that are actually trying to figure out how to work this shit.
It's okay if you want to go and just party and smoke pot and listen to music. That's fine. It's when it gets elevated to like you're doing something.
Yeah, you're changing the world.
You really are just smoking pot, listening to music. And just don't apologize for it.
Yeah.
And we both, Trey and I met in Boulder, Colorado, where we both went to school for 4 or 5 years, and so we're very, very...
That's where we learned to hate hippies.
Yeah, we're very, very up on hippies. We know hippie talk.
Yeah.
To this day, I know hippies better than they know themselves.
There's a little piece of...
If you want to solve a hippie committed a murder, you would hire me.
This episode actually had...
like a hippie.
We just did an episode this last season where we had Cartman as Dog the Bounty Hunter. And actually, we had him as Dog the Bounty Hunter in this episode, almost a year before.
Oh, that's right.
And so for a bunch of this, he was sort of Dog the Bounty Hunter going around picking up all the hippies. And then at the last minute, well, like on Sunday, we changed it all because we figured not enough people really knew who Dog the Bounty Hunter was yet. And it just didn't work. And so we just changed him and put him into a little orange sort of termite kind of suit. And then we did the Dog the Bounty Hunter idea later. So that's enough about this episode. We should move on.
By purchasing a subscription of your choice.
So this episode all came around. I can't remember who first turned us on to Wing, but it was one of those internet things where someone was like, "You got to go to this internet site. You got to go." And we went to, I think it was just Wing. It was wingmusic.com or something.
I think it's
like
Wing.
that. We put it at the end of the show.
She just released an album of covers of AC/DC. Well, I got an email.
It was one of those things where we went to it online and we're just like, is this a joke? Like, this is either a super sweet joke or it's a super sweet not joke. And basically, like, we just kept downloading the music, and whenever I felt down, I would just download some Wing singing the Carpenters. And so then we came up with the idea of like, well, how can we love Wing music so much, how can we have Wing in the show? And then came up with the idea of the boys being our managers. And then it was just this quick kind of race to try to see if we could actually get, because of course it was all going to hinge around us being able to get Wing's actual recordings and use them in the show. And so,
and she lives in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So
I think that she, even through the whole thing, she never she didn't know, like, was it a joke on her, or were we seriously like big fans or whatever? But it didn't matter, because after the show aired, because we put the name of our website up at the end of the show, and I guess her website like went so crazy it crashed, and like, but she was so happy, and like a month later I got this just card in the mail saying, like, you know, thank you, Mr. Parker, you have so much
I think she made a bunch of money.
Yeah, she made a bunch of money and like made her career, and she was like, she's super stoked about it.
That's cool. Good for her. I'm glad we helped her out.
Yeah,
because she is it's pretty bold. If you just go to Wing Music, I think it's wingmusic.com, and check it out.
Right.
And you'll feel like that you really haven't done anything with your life when you check out what she's done with her life.
And the big thing too was that the only thing she was worried about was she didn't want to look ugly. Yeah, she didn't want her drawing to be ugly.
She had to approve her drawing.
Yeah.
We had to send her a JPEG of her character so she could approve it.
Yeah.
And she looks good.
Yeah. It's like well, what do you want? You're not Britney Spears, you know.
I love Asian characters in South Park just have no eyeballs.
Yeah, that's the only difference.
Here you go. Your eyes are closed.
Yeah.
She proved it. She liked it.
And this what's pretty funny too is that, you know, we have Token singing this song in this show, and all we did was we took the actual Lou Rawls song,
right,
and we got the rights to it, so we just took that and we just sped it up, and we sped it up the same amount we speed up the voices when we do the kids' voices, and it just totally sounded like Token singing it all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. It was pretty great.
It sounded Adrian, our storyboard, our art director now, does Token's voice. And really the only reason he gets to do Token's voice is because Adrian's black.
Yeah.
And then it just happened to be that Lou Rawls sped up sounded exactly like Adrian sped up.
Which was thank God, because Adrian cannot sing at all. So we would have been in big trouble. Because if you want to see how good Adrian is at singing, look at the episode where all the rich black people move into town, and I wrote a song and Adrian sings it, and you've never heard a black man sing so off key in your life. It's unbelievable.
But we've seen him. He is black.
Yeah.
We can vouch for him. Adrian is black. Okay, next episode. Yep. Let's move on.
I'm happy you called, Abraham Lincoln. I'm just sort of in the middle of something right now.
So this is our famous Best Friends Forever episode. This is the episode we won the Emmy for.
This is an Emmy-winning episode of South Park.
Emmy-winning. So it really speaks for itself because it won an Emmy.
Yeah. It's obviously the best one ever. It's obviously the best South Park of all time.
It was a very last-minute episode. We actually had the idea for the episode that aired after this, which was the losing the baseball episode. And we were about to, on Thursday we went in for the writers' meeting. We were all going to work on that, but then I was just like, the Terry Schiavo thing they had just pulled her feeding tube. Mm-hmm. And so there was sort of the countdown waiting for it, and it was just a media frenzy. And like that day, we were all like, "This is insane!" Like it was like the biggest news story we'd seen, since 9/11. So it was just like, we were like, we got to come up with something. There's got to be something we can do with this. And so really quickly we went through a bunch of ideas. And then this was just one of those shows where sort of the whole idea just came together really quick. In a matter of like 30 minutes, we sort of ran out of the writers. I remember, coming out of the writers meeting and being like, knowing basically the beginning, middle, and end of the show, which it never ever happens. And ran out and told everyone, start modeling Heaven and Hell.
This is kind of loosely based on the Last Starfighter too.
Yeah.
That movie where the kid there's a video game and he lives in a trailer park, and then he gets the high score, and then aliens come down, and it was really not a video game, it was a training device, and he had to help in this interstellar war, which was really not a very good movie, but it's one of those ones that it was on cable a lot in the 80s when we were growing up.
And there's a lot of times people too, they wonder, did we have some kind of deal with Sony? Because this was right when the PSP came out, and it's funny because we always do a lot of shows going all the way back to like Sega Genesis. We've done shows, that were about the newest thing, and it's like, but the truth is we don't get any we don't do any endorsements for anybody. We never tell a company we're gonna do it. The truth is we love video games. So like when there's a kid excited about a video game coming, it's because that's what we're thinking about at that time. And also it's like, as much as you make Sony happy when you do something like this, you piss off Nintendo, who's also buying commercials on your show. And so we try to give them all kind of equal time because we love them all, and we think there's plenty of space in the world for all of them.
Why can't all the video games get along? There's also I remember when we were making this episode, we had a big debate about the end because we're building up to this final battle between heaven and hell, and of course we play out the joke version, which is you don't really get to see it, you just get to watch, you get to see the guy narrate it. But there was a while there when we were really going to do a big battle between heaven and hell. That was a big debate of whether we should actually do the battle or if it would be satisfying to have the joke.
And we just realized the show wasn't really about that. The show was about a feeding tube and right to life and all that stuff. So
it's a funny joke too. It worked out. I think it worked out well.
I remember
it's good it worked out that way because we couldn't have animated it all in time.
Yeah, but we were going to make it a two-parter. Remember, it was going to be a two-parter, and but then the whole thing was Terry Schiavo was gonna die like the night this aired, and she did. She died like the night it aired.
I think the day after or the night it did. Yeah,
and
really right there.
So she really kind of ruined our chances for a two-parter by doing that anyway.
Damn Terry Schiavo.
So now she's in heaven fighting off demons, which is good. So we'll move on.
You are dead, but your death was no accident. Heaven needs you.
This is our big baseball show. This whole idea started with the brilliant concept of wouldn't the boys be cute in baseball outfits? But it also made for the problem of like,
well,
wait
they?
a minute.
They sure
Yeah,
are.
they sure are. But it was also the problem of, well, as soon as you put them all in the same hats, they look exactly the same because their faces don't look different at all, except for Cartman, of course. So we didn't know. We spent a lot of R&D trying to figure out how to make the boys they're like little puffs of hair sticking out. And Token's easy, obviously, but...
Oh, there's the Butters.
Yeah.
He looks just like Stan if he didn't have this hair here.
Yeah.
That's right. But this was a really, really hard episode to do. This was, we've done a few sports episodes, and the problem with them, and most sports movies, is it's hard to you end up servicing the idea of, oh, they have to win this game to move on to this tournament, to win that game to go on to this. And you spend a bunch of time actually in games, then you have to figure out exciting parts of games, and you have to figure out the logic of the season, which for this was really hard because they were losing, trying to lose and then win.
Yeah.
And it was really rough.
Well, and figuring out how you play baseball to lose was even tough.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, if both teams want to lose, there's basically new rules to the entire.
Right.
So we
It's
had
a
to
whole
figure out,
different kind of game.
All right. Well, now it's all about trying to hit the kid's bat. The pitcher's trying to hit the kid's bat so that it can at least be a bunt.
Right. It was tough because it was a hard episode to just, without even thinking of jokes, just logistically to figure out how to make it happen and work. But then we came up with Bat Dad.
Yeah, Bat Dad.
And then then it was fine because all you need to do is just cut to Bat Dad.
There's also there's a scene in this show that's actually sometimes in South Park we'll just take a scene from a movie, and with this one we took a scene. It was either Rocky 1 or Rocky 2, but there's like this big scene where he walks in and pours himself some, makes the egg, or, goes in, walks on the beach and then goes and sits on the edge of the bed and is like, I can't do it, I can't fight him. It might even be Rocky 3 with Mr. T. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's getting ready for the fight.
But this episode, I ended up really liking this episode. I remember this was one of those episodes where we just thought it was horrible all the way up until about Tuesday morning.
It makes sense. The boys just don't want to play baseball.
You know, which does come from I mean, we're both, you know, pretty big sports fans, but just baseball, we've never really been fans of baseball.
I remember playing like Little League baseball when I was 6 years old, thinking it was boring.
You know.
All right. That's
Speaking of boring, let's move on.
All the other teams are worse than us.
So this is the death of Eric Cartman, and this is, I remember I came up with the idea for this episode whilst hiking around in Tasmania. And the only reason I remember that is because it's really the only time it's ever happened where I've been on vacation doing something else and I had an idea for a show. It almost never works out that way. But what it hinged around was I knew that I wanted Cartman, you know, all the boys to say, basically ignore him, Cartman to think he was dead, and then go to Butters, who did acknowledge him and therefore, you know, thought basically the idea for the show. But it all hinged around Cartman's going to have to do something so horrible that for finally the boys are going to say, we're going to ignore him, we're never talking to him again.
All the shit he's done.
And we're like, what can that, and so we sat around the writers meeting for a long time going, well, God, he's done such horrible, what's the worst possible thing he could do? And after kicking around, and actually we animated a whole bunch of the show, we just didn't have the first scene. And then finally, we were eating Kentucky Fried Chicken in the writers' meeting and talking about how it was really just all about the skin and that's all that matters. And, you know, and then someone was like, well, what if someone just came and took all the skin off that chicken right now? Okay. That person would be dead to me.
I think that might be one of my favorite lines in South Park right there where he says, I'm going to go home and I'm going to go sit on the toilet and read comic books after eating all the chicken skin. That's it. Like, that line makes you laugh every fucking time. It's just so perfectly Cartman.
But see, it's funny because like this scene right here, we already had this. We had them sitting there going, can you believe it? And Kyle going, he always does this stuff. And, you know, Stan going, well, this time it's final. So we're like, oh, what is this thing going to be? And then we animated the first
totally
scene.
Cartman. He would take all the pepperoni off of all the other pieces of pizza and just eat it all the pepperoni.
And then it all fell together because it was like, well, then he goes to the toilet, he's sick, and then that's why they're pulling out a box. You know, because before it was just he went home and they just happened to be taking the refrigerator out in a box and he thought that was his dead body. But as soon as we made it sticking up the toilet with chicken skin, we could it all came together really nicely.
It's all about that line for me, the sitting on the toilet. And it does actually plot-wise make sense.
In this episode, I think this episode actually ended up on our 10 favorite DVDs, but because it's just
Butters, it's a great Butters and Cartman.
Yeah, which is always pretty good. But yeah, I really like
Butters and Cartman. That's like our two. Yeah, they're two opposites and put them together, and it's usually pretty funny. Anything else about this episode?
No, it was just really good.
Yeah. Let's
All
move
right,
on to the next really good one.
It's almost as if I were dead.
So this was actually the last episode of the season. I mean, we always think of these. I know this is all season 9, but for us, every season now anyway is really sort of 2 runs of 7 shows apiece. So this was actually the last episode. And really, the only idea we had was that, you know, one of the kids is getting his first sort of erections during school, and we went back and forth a lot with which character that should be and everything, and then for some reason it just ended up being Jimmy.
Well, I think it did come out of him being Mr. You know, it's a stage thing, being on stage,
right?
Not stage fright, but I don't know what you call it. But he's the performer, and he's the one that's most attuned with what, you know, his audience thinks of him.
Oh, and it was also, I remember it was because we kind of had the idea of like, let's do a talent show at the school, and that Jimmy is the big stand-up, and so then they kind of came together that way.
I actually like the episodes where you'd think it would have something to do with his disabilities, but it doesn't at all.
Right.
And he's just like the other boy and the other boy, and like, I remember there was that time in about 5th and 6th grade when you're growing up where you like kind of can't wear sweatpants to school. Like, just kind of things happen. You don't have any control.
I still can't wear sweatpants.
I still can't control it. This is also the first appearance of Buca di Fagocini, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Our go-to shitty Italian restaurant that's in South Park now.
It was based off of Macaroni Grill, which was the first when Macaroni Grill opened in Denver, and Denver was still like 45 minutes away from where I was in the mountains, but basically we could go down. We first went down there with the family, and it was this, you know, and Macaroni Grill is basically like an Olive Garden or something.
Yeah, it's like Olive
that.
Garden. Yeah.
But for me and even for my entire family, we're like, wow, this is like authentic Italian food. We're like at a really expensive, really nice place. And the guys would come along and say that stuff about, would you like to try our fettuccine Alfredo? And just like, it's Authentico Italiano. And it's just like, wow.
It was like it looked like it's like they took a gas station. It was one of those things where they bought an old bank and put the proper siding on it, and it looked all Italian, but you could tell it was an old bank. Something like that,
It's still there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's right next to John Elway's Steakhouse.
I remember when we moved to California, our friend George Brandon, who was kind of our patron saint of me and Trey and Jason McKee when we moved out to California. We didn't have a place to live, and he took us out to lunch on the 3rd Street Promenade at one of those kind of like nicer Italian places. And I remember I was just like, I don't know what any of this is. Yeah. I have no idea. I've never
couldn't read the menu.
I mean, it's like it still was pizza and spaghetti was Italian food, and it kind of still is. I still go to Italian restaurants, but I don't know what any of this is. No. But for if you lived in Denver when we grew up there, Macaroni Grill or Buca di Fagocini, that would be Italian Autenticano.
This is probably my favorite scene of the show, just because this is where the first time we had Butters come in and take a pee, and he does that thing where he pulls his pants down and lifts his shirt up, which is, I love this part.
There you go.
Just because we've since then we've had him do this about 4 other times in other shows, just because I love the way he does that.
The other thing that this show has, I remember, is the car chase. It came up. The animators came up with that great 3D building action that looks all awesome.
Yeah, because we didn't come up with the car chase until like Monday night.
Yeah.
And so we suddenly had to do this whole car chase in 24 hours.
There was that way where you're like, how are we going to do this? And then, I don't know, they were just like, oh yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
It made it look really good. So I don't really remember
good.
this episode.
We'll go to the next season.
In the classroom.
What? Who told you that?
So this was one of those things where the season had started, and it was sort of right after the whole Katrina thing happened in New Orleans.
The little Katrina thing.
And unfortunately, we were kind of victims of our own, what we had been doing, because everyone was saying, oh, okay, well, South Park's starting soon, so you guys are obviously doing a Katrina episode, which is because, like, it had only been like 2 weeks, and yet everyone was now it had got, everyone was getting used to the fact that we could respond to something so quickly. So on the one hand, we're like, well, now everyone's expecting us to do Katrina. How can we do Katrina? We just got to do something else. But on the other hand, we're like, well, there's got to be something there that we can do. And so we'd always kind of had an idea for a global warming episode, just making fun of that movie, The Day After Tomorrow, and how they treat, global warming like Mothra.
There's one scene in Day After Tomorrow where global warming is literally chasing the main character down a hall.
Yeah.
the global warming, like the frost that a global warming had caused, which is so rad, by the way, too. It was like global warming causes an ice age, so they covered every base.
Yeah.
And then it chases the lead character down a hall, and he slams the door just in time.
And then they realize
like it's a serial murder.
They realized that was so crappy that they had to add some Arctic wolves.
Yeah.
That's when I went to go see The Day After Tomorrow in the theaters just because I wanted to see a good comedy. And I remember when they showed the Arctic wolves at the zoo about to get out, I was like, no way are they going to do this? And then it was about wolf chasing people in the end. I was just like, okay, I'm out.
Independence Day is like kind of a guilty pleasure for me. Like sometimes that movie, it's so dumb. I kind of like watching parts of it because it's just so dumb. But those guys that made Day After Tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Godzilla and Independence Day are hacks. They don't know how to make movies.
Yes.
Day After Tomorrow is the worst fucking movie, but it has great music.
The music in The Day After Tomorrow is some of the best movie music ever, and we didn't realize it until we were doing Team America, because for some reason we just wanted really serious, over-the-top, bombastic music, and so we got all the Bruckheimer CDs, soundtracks, but then we got as we started using pieces from Day After Tomorrow, we started going, you know what? That's really good. And
I love the music in that movie. Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes these movies even watchable, is that the music is so good, it convinces you this isn't as shitty as it looks.
You could put that music under a C-SPAN, a bunch of lawyers and city council members talking. It would be riveting.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. And you'll notice the main theme in Team America is kind of just a rip off of that, because we just liked it so much.
Yeah.
So we just used Day After Tomorrow music. I wish we could have just bought Day After Tomorrow music and put it under Team America. We've been wanting to do Arctic Wolves now for a long time too.
We were gonna put Arctic Wolves in this, remember?
Just
but
Arctic
they're
Wolves.
like cyborg wolves or something, just to make it. Like,
so
but
shitty.
it was. We just realized it was just too stupid. We couldn't even put it in South Park.
It's so dumb. What else is dumb in this? Let's just talk about Day After Tomorrow and rip on it. I don't even know what's in this.
I remember being at South Park, like, you know, whatever it was, 3 years before this episode, and Matt coming up laughing to me, holding a variety in his hand and saying, listen to this, listen to this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
A pitch has just been bought for a movie. It's called The Day After Tomorrow, and basically just read the synopsis. Like,
Sudden global warming.
Where sudden global warming attacks the Earth, and we're both just dying. We're in tears, and like, no way did somebody pay money for that. And then a year later, it came out.
Yeah.
We're like, wow.
The originally Team America, we were gonna we got the script for Day After Tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And we were just gonna shoot it with puppets and have it come out the same day.
Yeah.
And then
we were going to call that 2 days before The Day After Tomorrow.
yeah.
Have it come
And
out
we were
2 days
gonna
before.
have it called The Day After That, and it was
Yeah.
gonna come out the day after The Day After Tomorrow. That's where all those dumb jokes.
That would have been great too. Just that movie with puppets would be so good.
The day, and it's called The Day After That.
But wolf puppets would be really hard.
Well, that's enough about
Yeah,
Day
that's
After
enough
Tomorrow. Let's talk
about
about the next movie.
Right?
That's not important right now, son. What's important is figuring out whose fault this is.
So this episode, to me, is a good example of too much going on, I think. I don't mind this. I mean, there's really funny stuff in this episode, but this was actually, we always do this at the beginning of the run, too, and so this was the second in this run. And we always have kind of too many ideas. And then as the season goes, we always realize, oh yeah, keep it simple, and then you can have time to do funny stuff. But like, this actually should have been 2 shows, because the idea of the girls having the little fortune-telling device and the boys wanting to get it and treating it like, you know, that kind of movie could have sustained itself easily. And then there's the other idea of Butters having to pretend to be a girl for some reason, and then Butters being a girl and his parents thinking he's dead and then digging up his body and all that could have been a whole another episode. And instead they ended up all being
one. So we took, we kind of wasted both of them on one episode. We could have taken 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, and we always do that, and then it comes to the end of the run and we have no ideas for episodes, and we're like, God, I wish we would have made that 2 episodes.
Yeah, we should have made this 2 episodes.
So it's really, I don't know, it's hard for me to watch this because I really realized we could have had a whole nother great episode. Because especially like the whole thing, I really love the thing with Butters' father, which is all based off of Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
And we weren't able to go anywhere with it because by the time we had to service all these other stories, so by the time we got to Butters coming home and them thinking he's this monster and chaining him in the basement, then you could have just kept going, and then them having to think they have to feed him and feeding him dead bodies and all this stuff, and instead that just ended up being the very last scene.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, what the fuck was that? And so it's a good lesson.
So that means that for everyone out there, don't put too many ideas in your episode.
Yeah. But you have to have at least one good. You don't be like Adam Sandler and have no ideas.
Yeah,
either.
it's hard
You
to
know, you
it's
gotta
hard to
have
strike a
one.
balance between no ideas and some ideas. Don't let your ideas be a universal remote that controls your life.
Yeah, that's not an idea.
That doesn't count. That just fucking doesn't count.
Let's just move on. I really can't watch this. It's too hard. Too hard for me. So this was really our gay marriage episode, this was now we figured now that we had made Garrison a woman and then we made him a homosexual hating woman, that we figured the next logical step was he should lead the charge against gay marriage, because Slave and Al are going to get married and he's jealous.
Yeah, Garrison kind of predates all these guys. Like they, well, he doesn't predate them, but like the recent crop of people who are like evangelical preachers who are obviously fucking totally gay, but are the biggest gay haters in the world. That's totally Garrison.
Yeah.
And he's been that for years. He totally is. Garrison's it's always just putting those kind of. Garrison hates exactly what he is, and that's like been his MO the whole time. Is it just like, and so it's just fun to put all those arguments in his mouth because it's so obvious it comes from not a well thought out place, but a completely deep-seated, self-hatred kind of place. That's why it's so funny to put all his like all this anti-gay stuff in his mouth. He's the funniest stuff that happened.
I remember going, I don't know, I think it was season 5 or something was the shit episode where we said shit so many times. But in that episode, we also had Garrison say fag. And it was the first time we'd ever said fag. And there was this big fight with Comedy Central, like, you can't say fag. You can't do it. And we're like, well, but he's making a point. He's a gay man and saying, I can say fag because I'm gay. And so then it was like, okay, he can say it, like, and one time, and they were like, okay, how about 2? And then, so he said it twice in that episode, and it's gone from that to this episode where he's basically like screaming, I'll get rid of you, you fudge-packing faggots. And like, he says fag in this and faggot and everything about 80 times. It's pretty great. And they didn't say a thing. They were like, yeah, okay, whatever. Because we kind of made it, we kind of like made this character, since even though now he's basically a woman, we said, well, he's a homosexual, so he can say it all we want. And now we say fag all the time. Now the boys say fag and everything. So.
That's good. So we did that for television.
So yeah, we opened that up for everyone.
That's great.
So it's okay to say fag, kids.
This episode is really all about when he just the ridiculous logic of like, I have to get that egg. Like if those guys, if that egg will break, I'll prove that gays can't be married, and that makes perfect sense to Mr. Garrison.
But perhaps I should try to boldly go.
He's in love though.
Kindle that love.
Yeah, he's about to start screaming. He's about to go off of fag. But that's a big thing. And I guess apparently we went to England and everyone said that over there, everyone's saying fag now. And nobody said fag in England, not because they just didn't use it the way we do, which is, there's a difference, for us, growing up anyway, there was a difference between fag and a homosexual. Because you knew homosexuals that were super cool and were your friends and whatever. And like, but then a fag, for at least to a kid, not the way Garrison's using it, but a fag is just like, it's like, well, you're a fag. And it's like, you're not saying you're a homosexual, you're saying you're a dickhead. And so, I don't know, I think fag's too great of a word. I think the gay should just give it up and just be gay and be homosexual, and that's all great, and let fag mean a dickhead. Because there's plenty of straight people who are fucking fags. All right, let's move on.
What the hell is he doing here?
So this is a Ginger Kids episode. I really like this episode.
Pluto is also the furthest.
We knew we wanted to do a Ginger Kids episode for a long time. We just didn't quite know how to do it. But
I hope you enjoyed my report.
it all kind of started. We were in England doing press for the show, and we noticed a billboard that said it was something like "Only you can stop ginger" or
Yeah,
something.
only
like
you
that.
can prevent ginger. Or
And
something.
it had like just a little ginger girl on it smiling. And we're just like, dude, that's so cool. That's so horrible. And it really is there really is some truth to this. I mean, I am sort of gingerphobic in a way, I guess. I definitely have nothing against them, but they do just kind of freak me out. And in fact, I sort of referenced myself in this show where I had just gotten engaged when this show came out, and so and the guy says to one of the kids, he says, well, the only way you can be sure you're not going to have a ginger kid is to marry like an Asian, because then you probably won't have a ginger kid. And he's talking about me, because that's what I did. Because I was dating someone before and having a really great time, and it seemed like really pretty good. And then I met her mom, and she was ginger. And I knew deep down it was the beginning of the end right there. It was just, okay, how do I get out of this? Because there's just no way. We don't, we can have fun, but there's no future here, because I'm not having a kid that has a 1/10 of a chance of being ginger. Because what'll I do?
Yeah.
Leave it somewhere.
You have to bail on it.
I would just have to forget it somewhere.
And why is Kyle's a daywalker? Because he's ginger, but he can go out in the sun.
Right.
Because we had a tough time with this episode because we wanted to do this whole ginger episode, but then
We'd already
Even though-
asserted that Kyle was ginger.
yeah, that Kyle had red hair. But even though
But then we
He's
said
not-
there's a difference between like having red hair and then really being like light skin
and everything,
freckles.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why the daywalker. We had to kind of make that distinction though because of Kyle. Because even though he wasn't like you don't see his hair a ton, we had seen it, and he did technically have red hair. So he's the daywalker because he can go out in the sun.
I just don't. I can't believe, even when people are like, what do you mean? I think little redhead kids are so cute. I'm like, no, you don't. You're freaked out by them too. I know you are.
In England,
That little girl has red hair right there.
yeah, there's other ones.
We didn't even mention that.
In England, there's a movement with some red-haired people to get racial minority status. So, like with other racial minorities, that they could sue if they get discriminated against, because they're basically it's like we're a race. right? And they kind of are if you think about it, you know?
With red hair and freckles? Ask you a few questions. Yeah, come
They
on.
kind of are. But there's also red-haired, and we did a lot of research for this. There is the red-haired gene has spread throughout the whole world.
Yeah.
And there are
There's
red
ginger
hair
Japanese now.
there's a few ginger Japanese, ginger Nigerians. Yeah, isn't that weird?
Sick.
Kind of gross. Well, but the red-haired gene was spread through Dutch sailors in Japan, you know, who interbred.
Yeah,
with some
so they're not
Japanese.
really Japanese.
It got in there. It got in the whole blood. Got in the whole bloodstream. And the other fact I remember from all the research from this is that red-haired people require more anesthetic when they go to surgery. They're more resistant to pain.
Yeah, because they have, when you don't have a soul, you're more resistant to pain.
And they have way more hairs on their head, don't they? Or something like that.
I don't know. I don't
There's
wanna
another
talk.
weird thing about them, too.
Each one of them's a blessing.
Anyway, that's enough of that.
Sick.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Oh boy, we've talked about this episode so much.
I don't know what else there's to say about
Yeah,
Trap.
I mean, we have so much.
They made us do commentary on our 10 favorite episodes DVD, and so we already did a bunch of
We've also
commentary.
gone around, like everyone wanted to know about this episode, so we talked about it in the press. So let's just talk about something else.
What's something, yeah.
What are you
We can
gonna
about
do
John
today?
Travolta. We can talk about John Travolta and all of his planes. Have you seen that picture of his house?
No.
Do you see that aerial picture? John Travolta lives on this in this gated community in Florida that has its own airstrip. So anybody who buys a house in there, and it's an aerial photo I saw in his magazine. It's of an airstrip, right? And then like 5 or 6 houses around it. So you pull in, and then you pull your plane off the runway over into your driveway, and you pull it up to your house. And he has this humongous house with all these cars, and then 3 big airplanes. One of which is like a 737 or some huge plane, and he pulls it right up to like his bay window at his breakfast nook.
Wow.
It is fucking crazy awesome. It's like the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen. And so, and apparently everyone who lives in this subdivision, like you have your own plane, and that's why you live there. So you commute out of there. That's something about John Travolta. We could also talk
we just
about
got
how
done
R.
with
Kelly.
them.
How does R. Kelly
Look, is this a religion?
get away with what he's gotten away with and seem to be fine? Like, what the fuck? How awesome? How like lame and awesome is that? No one really even cares. How does that happen?
Says Church of Science.
Aren't you supposed to care about that?
Just this thing. What's the Denver Broncos?
And then but you know what happened? He came out with that album right after he raped all those kids, or allegedly raped all those kids. And the album was really, really good. It was a really good album, and everyone's like, okay, that's sweet.
Yeah.
And it came out Trapped in the Closet, and everyone's like, oh, that's sweet too. We don't really care if you rape kids.
That's what happened with See, if Michael Jackson had come out with a sweet album right after he raped a bunch of kids, everyone would be like, well, this is pretty good.
Michael Jackson, yeah, people did basically. They're like, that's cool. You're cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael Jackson.
Whistle just for the
Do we say anything else about this episode?
We just got done with a run last night, actually. As we're recording this, we just got done with season 10.
Season
We just
10,
totally got done with season 10, huh?
Yeah.
So we just finished a couple days ago. We finished a show about hockey, and now we're off for. This is the last thing we have to do here in the office.
Gonna get
And
drunk. I'm just gonna get
go
drunk for a
hang
few
out.
days.
And the Nintendo Wii just came out, and PlayStation 3 just came out, and so I'm inside for the next month. Let's move on.
Getting
We're done
healthy.
with this.
Scientology. I think it can really make you happy again.
This was a very last-minute episode. This is we're at the end of the run, and we had no ideas for shows, and
Basically, the whole episode I think came from the idea of having an image of a dead whale on the moon.
Yeah.
And how to get there.
how do we get a dead whale on the moon?
That was it. It was something about there's always been this. We were talking about there's a whale flying through the air, and then we've always been talking about.
We've always been
we have
like,
this
what
voice-
about the whale?
Yeah, what about the? It's like an old Hanna-Barbera whale flying through the air and going, "What about the whale?" I don't remember why we thought that was funny, but somehow it was about getting this whale to the moon.
Yeah,
That was
but it
it.
ended up being. I really like this episode.
I think it's
This is a good example. Unlike the other one I was ripping on. This is a great example of a simple idea done well. Like one idea done well. Because even with one idea, you end up having a lot of other things come out of it. It's just when you start with too much plot, you always get into trouble. That drawing right there, the guy with the beard, is Kyle, one of our writers. Kyle McCullough. That was based on him
That's what he looks like.
because he was doing that voice, but then I didn't like it, so I did it over.
But he kept the drawing.
We kept the drawing of him.
I don't remember what else happens in this episode.
Just because that would be something Kyle would do to some kids, is pretend to be a
Yeah.
whale. That's why it still makes sense that it's him.
That happened. That's so dumb. I really do like I mean, this is funny because this episode was in between, Trapped in the Closet, which we had a lot of controversy for, and the show after this, which was Bloody Mary. But to me, I remember that way. I think the Whale on the Moon is one of my favorite parts of this whole season, and just because it is so dumb, and we just assert that it's like the end of the show, like it matters. The last shot, like it really, really matters, and it's over. Isn't it just silent?
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
But we also had this great. When I remember I was writing the scene about the guys going around looking for the kids, and at first I had written it down and then he shows her a sketch and it's like a real bad stick figure drawing of a person. I was like, no, that joke's been done before. And I was like, oh wait, our drawings are so shitty anyway. It could be the reverse of that, where it's like he's showing them pictures of the boys, and they're super awesome pencil sketches of what they would look like in real life. And so we got some of our artists we're like, drop the boys, as real. And of course, it just became this big thing in the office because so many people were like, no, Stan wouldn't have that kind of and it's like, Kyle doesn't have those kind of ears, and it's like, what do you mean? Because everyone had in their own mind kind of what the kids would look like, and so there was a lot of going back and forth on each kid. But I think it's one of my favorite parts of the show too. We turned it into a T-shirt actually, just because it's a great.
It was a crew T-shirt.
It's a great drawing of the four boys.
All right, that's about it. Onward. Onward.
Bloody Mary, the last episode of this run. We'd been wanting to do an AA show for a long time, but never quite had the whole thing. But then it was also this. This was towards Christmas, and so all the reports started coming out, as they always do around Christmas time, of people saying that their statue of the Virgin Mary is bleeding out her eyes or whatever.
Crying
and then
blood.
I think it was Anne, where the producer Anne came in and said, well, the Virgin Mary up in Northern California is bleeding out her eyes again. Can we do something about that?
And we were like, nah. And then Anne went, what if she bled out her ass?
Yeah. How about? And then Anne said, how about she shits blood all over the Pope's face? And we're like, Anne, oh my God.
That's an awesome idea.
Because Anne's Catholic.
Do you think we could get away with it? And I was like, sure, fuck him.
Yeah, that was all Anne's idea. And Anne's sitting here listening to us do this right now, so that's what we're saying. But my dad actually did this one time, where we were driving up to Keystone for a little family getaway for the summer, and me and my friend Tom Donovan, and we're driving up with my dad, and Dad's drinking a beer while he's driving up over Loveland Pass, and he doesn't want to stop, so he just drinks the entire bottle of beer, and then he pees into the bottle while he's driving. I was like 9, and just pees in the bottle while he's 9, and then had me hold it.
I think drunk driving laws have gotten a little insane. Like, I think they're a little overwrought now, but it was kind of crazy the way it used to be, where if you had a long road trip, you just get some beers.
Yeah, no, it's like if we were driving, Dad would just have a 6-pack next to him in the car, and that's just how. And no one, thought it was to be like really drunk and driving around would be bad, but just the fact that you're drinking a beer while you're driving is in Colorado was nothing.
I grew up in Littleton, and I went to college in Boulder, and so they're like 45 minutes away, which, in living in LA, that's like not even that far. In Colorado, like 45-minute drive. I better get a 6-pack for the way. Like, drink a couple beers, not speeding, not being lame, just have a couple beers. Everybody did that. Too.
You're not being drunk. You're just being a little loose.
Just listening up. So when you get up there, you're ready to party. That's so lame.
Driving while drunk is really bad, but driving while a little loose, nothing wrong with that.
Just loosen up.
And that's what one more for the road really was a saying. It wasn't a joke.
It wasn't.
No. People really said that to each other. I have one for the road, and I need one more drink before I can drive. They were serious.
I think the problem is cars just got too fast.
Yeah, probably.
They should just make everyone can drink and drive, but you can only go 25 miles an hour.
Well, and kids started playing in the street too much, I think. You just got to get kids out of the street, and then it's all right.
What the hell is he doing?
But this episode became really, this was even though Trapped in the Closet became like this big news story, this episode got pulled first. And it was sold to us. We got a call from Comedy Central, And they did a good job, by the way, of selling us on it because they knew we should have hit the roof, but we had just finished the season. It was like the last day. We were just exhausted. And we got a call, and they basically said, we are going to pull the rerun of Bloody Mary, which was supposed to air on like the 27th of December. Or the 23rd, right around Christmas. And they're like, you know what? It's just not, we just don't want to be lame around the holidays and offend people. And I was like, you know what? That makes sense. Yeah, we don't need to go out of our way to offend people. Okay. And they made it sound like it was just this one-time thing, when really, I think it was a for-all-time thing. And what happened is there's a really prominent, there's a member of the Viacom board who's a prominent Catholic, and a bunch of Catholics got to him. Or like a couple of Catholics.
Yeah.
There's one really vocal Catholic who I won't name because I don't want to give him the credit. But, and then he got it pulled off the schedule.
But then
And
they
it
got-
would have and then people noticed that it was gone, on the internet.
So then all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, what kind of precedent have you set? And now all of a sudden the Scientologists were like, well, we want that episode pulled.
And we had just
then-
got done with a meeting with Isaac saying we don't pull episodes off the air because it sets precedent. And then Comedy Central went and did it.
Yeah. So then it just started this shitstorm of stuff that basically all the next season we had to deal with, all the fallout from them pulling that, therefore the Scientologists now wanted that show, and then trying to do Muhammad and them wanting to pull that episode. It was just nuts. And we're finally...
I have more sympathy for the Catholics because we did have the Mary, Virgin Mary shit blood on the Pope. That to me is more offensive than what we did this time.
I'm really offended by it. I don't know why Anne wanted us to do that, but Anne Garrison, demanded that the Virgin Mary shit blood on the Pope.
I think you went too far in that one, Ann.
I don't think it was good, Anne. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
It's been great. And we'll see you on the next season. We'll talk about a lot more fun stuff.